Morning guys, I love this time of year in Sydney. Look at that, fantastic stuff. So do you know what you electronic wireless group set people are missing out on? New cable day. Remember that feeling? New cable day? Well, I'm enjoying it today, I tell ya. Which was really the other reason I was in with Felicio during the week. Yeah, look, trying this Repente saddle, and as I said, the angles are quite interesting. If you set the angles on the rails parallel to the seat posts, the actual tilt is like 9 degrees. But it's clearly got a spot it wants you to sit, and I haven't quite found that yet. So hence, quite a bit of pulling over, little adjustments, and then going again. So I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable on the saddle, guys. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do like a sub-threshold effort up Akuna Bay here, which is sort of 300 watts for me. It's an effort that I know pretty well. It's an effort that I know how my body should react and what sort of muscles I should feel. So I'm going to roll that, and guys, you can come along for us up this hill. For those of you in Sydney, you probably know this climb really, really well, and I do know it quite well as well. And what it does is it gives you a good opportunity to test out a few different positions on the bike. So the bottom of it is really quite a steep climb. There's these switchbacks here that we're going up at the moment that require you really to be in the big ring, and it's kind of a 4 to 5 minute sort of probably sub-threshold effort for me up this kind of period of the climb before it moves into a sort of big ring grind, which gives me a chance to move into a different sort of position on the saddle, I suppose. Now I am cheating a little bit here. I've jumped out of the saddle. The main reason for this is just the last sort of pitch, and what I'm kind of keen to do, I've put it in the big ring here because what I want to try and do is just roll this gear over the top of it into the more sort of grindy section. I've felt pretty comfortable. So climbing felt really good, and this is a different sort of muscle group now really, because I'm into a big ring and it's probably sort of 4 or 5%, but you can get a nice bit of momentum along this sort of section of the climb. Personally, I kind of slide back a little bit on the saddle in these sort of efforts and are able to sort of kind of grind a little bit more power. Oh, look, I'm not really riding much more of a cadence than probably sort of 80 along here, which is a bit low for me, but it's a good chance to just try a different position on the saddle. Now again, for those of you in Sydney, you'll probably know that there's another little pitch just coming up here, and it's a pitch that really you can kind of grind through it in a big ring, or drop down into the little ring and spin it out. Sometimes you'd sort of regard this as the top of the climb, but I want to kind of keep going all the way really, because it's only a 300 watt effort for me. I want to kind of keep going all the way to Terry Hills, so we'll roll over the top of this pitch now. As I did this test effort, I really started to think, because obviously I'm moving about the saddle depending on the different parts of the effort that I was in. When I was on the steeper section, I really did sort of come towards the nose of the saddle, and on these sort of flatter sections I pushed myself back on the saddle. And I'm really interested whether that is something that you guys do as well. Do you move about a saddle? And for those of you guys still running like short-nosed saddles, do you find yourself moving about the saddle anymore, or does the short nose thing try and keep you in that same position for all your type of efforts? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. In fact, I did record something on the GoPro about this, but sadly the microphone didn't work, and let me show you why the microphone doesn't work very often. So I know I gave this a hard time in the Action Cam vlog, and one of the reasons, guys, for me, right, so to run the audio option, you have to leave the battery door open. And what that actually means in reality is, for me riding along, well, quite often the battery will just be jostled and the whole thing will shut down. So you'll be using it and all of a sudden you'll just get this shutdown option, and it'll, well, not option, it'll just shut down and then tell you moments later that it's recovering the file, and you don't know what it recorded and what it didn't record. So yeah, look, the only option then is you run the door the whole time, and you have to take the door off, and yeah. So look, I realised I was a bit harsh on it, but you know, again, I'm just trying to pick bits out that might sort of impact you guys. So I suppose the other reason I was being so harsh on the action cams, guys, and yeah, I should have made it way clearer, but really what I should have been doing is comparing all those action cameras to this, the phone, because is there justification to take that extra camera when this gives you, you know, wide angle telephoto? Okay, the ruggedness is a separate thing, but yeah, it's the eternal battle, really.
Why do I make things complicated? Why do I lose all my control? I keep on letting my bad habits make us both come crashing to the floor.
Oh, it's just like turning into one man's quest to turn into a human power weave, isn't it? So this is the Pro Team Aero Jersey Flight Edition, which, as you can probably tell, has some very similar features to the bib shorts and that kind of thing. So speaking of the Pro Team Aero Jersey, guys, we are running very close to the end of the competition, the giveaway, so do get those routes down below. I'll put the link to the video and then you've got to comment on that video. We'll close that off on the 31st and then we'll get the jerseys and announce them pretty quickly after that. I'm probably like hitting, I just wanted to say this actually. I realise I'm hitting all the sort of YouTube like clickbaity things at the moment, aren't I? But it's just in my mind, so tubeless like veganism and Lance. So yeah, there's this Lance Armstrong documentary that appears on ESPN during the week. And I got sucked in. Just I suppose desperate for cycling content, and I watched it. I watched the first part of it. And I'm just like, why is this on television? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just trotting out the same old stuff. And the reason I say, like, why is this on television is because obviously I was trying to view it from the perspective of these people just getting into cycling, you know. And it's really frustrating watching something like that because the way it's portrayed made it feel to me that this was only just then. Now, I do want to say this, right? So we had a Zoom chat with the team the other night, and I just asked the guys, I was like, guys, was anyone watching it? Did anyone watch it? Any thoughts on it? And everyone just sort of went, no. I kind of thought that was cool because, like, for these guys now, like Lance and all that, it's just not relevant. That's not a thing that happened to them. So it's like, oh, way back when. So I kind of thought that was pretty cool. I will say this. So one of my takeaways from it was, so when Lance was racing domestically in the US, like this is before pre-cancer, right? And he was saying that he was racing on the domestic US scene and making $20,000 a year. Fast forward that to now, like there is no money. I'd love your thoughts on this, guys, but from what I understand, like that does not exist domestically in the US. Like it's really struggling. Road racing is just tough time. Be interested to know if that existed, that sort of time frame, whether that existed here in Australia, because obviously that's not the case anymore. So what was your main takeaway from the Lance documentary about doping and systematic, horrific doping? I was like, he made 20 grand a year racing domestically in the US? What? That's crazy. These are the things that I work with. Anyway, but super cool that just the team had like no interest. It was just not relevant to them. They were way more interested in talking about what Zwift bike they were gonna get for the Zwift race. Maybe that's worse. I don't know. Speaking of Lance, do you want to know my dirty little Lance secret? I actually have a feeling Lance might have got me into cycling. Well, he certainly got me into Lycra. So yeah, I remember it quite well. So Lance was the comeback Lance, right? So it was 2010, something like that. And Lance came to Dublin. I can't remember why. But anyway,
he announced on Twitter he was going to do a ride at Phoenix Park. And I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And I was at work at Dublin City Council at the time. Anyone's still watching? I did some work for Vodafone out there. There's another whole other story. I remember at lunchtime finding out that he was going to do this ride at Phoenix Park, and Dublin City Council offices were not far from Phoenix Park. I had my bike, but I didn't have any Lycra. I didn't actually wear Lycra at the time on the bike. I just wore board shorts. And I was like, right, I'm going to go get some Lycra. So I went out at lunch. The lunch breaks were quite good at the time. And yeah, went out, bought some Lycra and fronted up to Phoenix Park with half of Ireland, and we did a lap of Phoenix Park with Lance, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I can never be that angry at you, Lance, because you got me in Lycra eventually. Probably would have got there in the end because the board shorts thing was starting to cause some issues. Alright, I won't interrupt you anymore, Catherine Lee. I'll go see what Kiri's doing. Kira's teaching year one. No, Kira's teaching preschool. Yeah. Kiri's teaching preschool. It's data daycare this afternoon.
I'm at my school.
Oh, they're very well behaved, Kira. It'd be cool if you guys got any dirty little secrets like that. Not necessarily Lance related, but be cool. Let us know if you've. How did you get into riding? Was there some sort of? I'll tell you. Have a look back through some of the old vlogs. There's one where Seb Meyer, who was on the team last year, tells us how he got into cycling, and it's a great story. It involves 240 k's an hour is all I will say. Very good girl, Kira Ann. Let us know, it'd be really cool. Let you know your story. If you haven't yet, get into that Pro Team Jersey vlog and put your route down there, because yeah, those Pro Team jerseys are sick, aren't they, Kiri?
What protein jersey?
Oh, you know that one I was wearing this morning with like the stripes and everything? Did you like that one? Yeah. Yeah, it's alright. Alright guys, see you soon. Bye bye.
For me, I feel like coming forward on the short nose one, obviously there's nothing to go forward. So